Hey everyone, we've got a new Player of the Week selection on eFootball. It's another national team selection from the Euros and from the Copa America. We do also have a Premier League Player of the Season pack. I'll take a look at that in a separate video, so there'll be a review of that coming up. Keep your eyes out for that. I'm also hoping to do a live stream tomorrow morning. It'll be a J-League watch-along because there's a J-League match live on YouTube kicking off at 11. Sanfrecce Hiroshima versus Vissel Kobe, two good teams. So assuming my work situation isn't too crazy in the morning, I'll be going live for that. So if any of you are around, it'd be good to see you. We can watch some J-League and chat some eFootball. But for this pack, as always, I'll put timestamps in the description. So if there's a particular player you want to hear about, click the description and there'll be a link to take you straight to them. We've got just one 4-star this week, and that's who we'll start with. It's Vargas from Switzerland. So, normally a roaming flank. He's a creative playmaker this time. As I always say, I don't personally like that playing style on a winger, but that's personal preference. You might like that, but he has got that playing style this time. It's the first special version of Vargas that we've had on the game. Compared to his GP card, a little bit less pace, a bit less kicking power, a little bit less dribbling, but they've given a really nice boost on his end product. Low lofted passes and finishing, they've gone up quite a bit from his GP card. Looking at his skills, what they've done, they've taken away sombrero and scotch move, and they've added through passing and pinpoint crossing. So clearly the general idea with this guy is that they made him a bit less of a dribbler, but they've given him a bit more end product. So yeah, it's an interesting card. It's the only 4-star, so it's not going to be a brilliant card. It's not going to be one of the better ones in the pack. He still does have a few skill moves there for the dribblers, but with the end product, long range curler, long range shooting, particularly, he's got a dipping shot as well if you like that. Heel trick's a nice one, and then through passing and pinpoint crossing have been added, of course. So they've added a few things there to enhance his end product. And he does have a bit of end product. Not amazing by any means, but for a winger, it could be a lot worse, certainly with the low pass and the finishing. On the ball, for a winger, you'd hope they'd boost his ability on the ball, not nerf it. So I would like him to be a bit better. The ball control and tight possession are a little bit dodgy. Dribbling's alright, 85. He does still have good pace, even if it's not quite as quick as it normally is. Attacking awareness sucks. That's low. That's a bit of a shame. Not great kicking power. Good balance though. So yeah, he's clearly got qualities. He's quick. He's not too bad on the ball. He's got a bit of end product, but honestly, from these packs, you want a bit more. You know, he's clearly a 4-star card. So yeah, not one I'll get too excited about. But if you like the guy, if you're Swiss, or if you support Augsburg, who he plays for, then it's certainly gonna be a fun card to pick up. But looking at it, for what it is, some qualities for sure, some pace, a bit of end product, but he doesn't quite have enough across the board for me to really get excited about him. I don't think he's a particularly great card, really. Now we have Sabitzer. We have had one previous version of Sabitzer. It was, I think, a nominating contract one. I picked it up. It was also a whole player. It was pretty similar to this one. A few stats slightly higher, a few slightly lower. Pretty similar on the whole, but position-wise, that previous version had SS, centre forward, and wing forward, left and right. So it had more positions. But in terms of the attributes, it was pretty similar. This one, as with the previous nominating contract one, is a whole player. His GP card is a box-to-box. They've not changed his positions, except that they've given him SS as a semi-proficient position, which is utterly pointless because you can't position train these cards. I don't know why they bothered doing that. Compared to his GP card, got a bit of a boost on his finishing, on his attacking awareness, his physicals as well, a bit stronger. They've nerfed his lofted pass for some reason. And the official eFootball weaker foot analyst can take the day off. You're welcome, JS, because for once I've noticed his weaker foot has gone from high to very high. So he's got a stronger weaker foot on this particular card. In terms of his skills, we've got some end product. So with his shooting, certainly long range curler, rising shot, long range shooting, acrobatic finishing, first time shot. Got a nice selection of shooting skills. With his passing, through passing, good, but no one-touch pass. I don't think he's had that previously either, so it's a bit of a shame, but he does have through passing. Outside curl is certainly a nice one to have. They have taken away sliding tackle and replaced it with track back. I'm not sure that's going to make a huge amount of difference to anything, but yeah, track back and then interception, fighting spirit. Interception is a nice one because this guy, he's a whole player. He's got centre mid, attacking mid. As a centre midfielder, normally with a whole player, I would say it's not worth playing in there because as a whole player, you want to make the most of their playing style. They usually have, they're usually better going for them defensively. With this guy, as a whole player, he is better going forward than he is defensively, but with interception and these attributes here, he's not great defensively, but he's got a bit of defensive ability. You know, the defensive engagement is going to get to 80 with your game plan boost. It's quite aggressive, a bit of tackling ability. The awareness could be worse, so certainly you would need at least one, maybe two other midfielders behind him doing the defensive work, but you could get away with him as an attacking centre midfielder, using that whole player playing style, bursting forward, but having a bit of defensive ability. He's got interception, he has got track back as well. One thing to keep in mind, having the track back skill with the whole player playing style, he's been doing a lot of running around. He's going to get tired. He's only got 82 stamina. So keep an eye on that. That's one thing to keep in mind. He's not the quickest. So as an attacking midfielder, whether you play him as an attacking centre mid or whether you play him as an actual AMF, I think I would play him there. Even though you could get away with him as a centre mid, I think with the attacking ability, the end product he's got, attacking mid is probably where you're going to get the most out of him. I think the one concern for a lot of people would be that he's not the quickest, only 73 speed. His dribbling's not brilliant, even though it'll get to 80 with the game plan boost. Dribbling getting to 80, speed in the mid-70s, not got brilliant balance. The dribblers probably won't get along too well with this guy, but if you don't mind that, if you're not too bothered about the dribbling and the speed, if you're just more concerned about him being technically sound and having end product, he's certainly got some decent attributes on the ball there with the ball control type possession. Low pass of 86 is not amazing, but it's fairly good. It does have through passing. Finishing 79, again, that's going past 80 with the game plan boost, as is the attacking awareness, which marries up perfectly with his whole player playing style. So with those shooting skills going with the finishing, he's definitely got some end product. He can shoot, he can pass. It's a popular playing style. So yeah, it's not an amazing card by any means. I don't see anything here that's getting to the 90 mark, which is a shame, but it's a solid card. You know, obviously he's 92 rated, so you can't expect him to have too much going on here, but he's a decent one as a whole player, potentially as a centre mid, but I think certainly as attacking mid. He's got end product, he's technically sound. Not an amazing one. The dribblers probably won't like him, but if he's your type of player, he could be a useful one to pick up. Now we have Danilo. So we've had a few better versions of Danilo. We've had a lot of versions of him, to be honest. There's been a few slightly better that go to 94 or 95. Comparing it to his GP card, kicking power's down for some reason. But this left column with his technicals, he's had a bit of a boost down here. Skill-wise, they've added one-touch pass and man marking. Man marking is a very nice addition. He's now got a very, very nice selection of skills for fullback. Man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, captaincy and fighting spirit. Nice bonuses there. And then going forward, low lofted pass, pinpoint crossing. They've added one-touch pass, knuckle shot. Yeah, if you like that sort of thing. But certainly the rest of his skills here, defensively and going forward for a fullback, really, really good selection of skills. But for me, the problem with this card is that there's two ways you can use him. You look at the positions. You can play him as a fullback or you can play him as a centre-back. If you play him as a fullback, he's not quick enough. If you play him as a centre-back, he's not good enough defensively or physically. That's the problem with this guy. He's kind of got a bit of everything, but he's just not quite that great in any particular position. So for me, it's not a great card. I've had a couple of versions of Danilo that you can train, and I've trained them up to be good fullbacks. I've got one that's trained to be a centre-back. He's slightly lacking in skills though. But on this one, pre-trained, you can't change his attributes, you can't put skills on him, you can't change his positions. And for that reason, I don't think it's a great card because, like I say, as a centre-back, I don't think these attributes down the middle are high enough. I don't think his physicals are high enough. His jumping's not high enough and he doesn't have aerial superiority. And then as a fullback, which is where he's supposed to play, yes, he's got a fantastic selection of skills for a fullback. Defensively is strong for a fullback. Down the left, I mean, certainly the passing is decent for a fullback. The ball control's all right. Dribbling and type possession a bit iffy, but that pace, 83 speed, 81 acceleration, is that enough for a fullback? If you don't mind that pace, he could be a really solid fullback for you. It could be one where you could put the defensive instruction on him and use him as a defensive fullback, because certainly down the left he's fine for a defensive fullback. The defenses are pretty good if you're playing defensively. He's got the skill set. It's just that pace really. But yeah, whether you use him as an attacking fullback or a defensive fullback, if you don't mind that pace being as low as it is, he could be a really solid card, but I think most of us would probably agree that that pace is a little bit low. And as a centre-back, I don't think he's anywhere near good enough in the most important areas. So yeah, for some people it could be a solid fullback to pick up, but outside of that, I think this card's a little bit disappointing, to be honest. This card, on the other hand, is not disappointing. Diogo Costa. So this is a booster card. Before the booster, awareness, reflexes, reach, all hitting 90 with the game plan boost. Catching and parrying are both decent. It's a good goalkeeper card. He's good. But like I say, it's a booster card, and what we're interested in is how good he can be, which is when he's on A form, and how good he can be on A form is really good. This is pre-game plan boost. 92 awareness, 94 reflexes, 91 reach. The parrying goes to 80. So 4 of these 5 are going to be in the 90 plus with the game plan boost, and catching is going to be up to about 86. This is a really good goalkeeper card. He's not the tallest goalkeeper at 6'1", but he's not small either. He's an okay height, but he's got the reach. Obviously, it's a player of the week goalie, so even when the goalkeeper produces an incredible performance, he can't jump. Konami, can you hear me? No, they don't listen. Yeah, what can you say? This is just a really, really good goalkeeper card. I don't think there's a great deal needs to be said. He's already got penalty saver. He's already known as a penalty specialist, but obviously, if anyone didn't know that already, they know it now after his last performance. Low bunt, high bunt captaincy. I think the only thing he's missing really is long throw and the ability to jump. But yeah, in terms of these goalkeeper attributes, without the A form boost, solid goalkeeper, good goalkeeper card. With that A form boost, yeah, fantastic card. I'll be very, very happy if I get this guy. And next we have Davinson Sánchez from Galatasaray. So, I think they changed this guy's playing style quite recently, because I picked up a GP one from, I think I spanned like a Legend box or something. I randomly ended up with a GP version of Sánchez. It's a build-up, but he's a destroyer, and his GP card is now a destroyer as well. It's the best, certainly highest rated version of Davinson Sánchez that has been. There's been a couple of good ones previously that were build-up. This one's obviously a destroyer, like I say. They've slightly shuffled his defensive attributes a little bit. A few slightly higher, a few slightly lower. He's had a pretty nice boost on his physicals. And across the rest of his attributes, just kind of slightly boosted, really. So it's a fairly good version of Davinson Sánchez. And skill-wise, a nice boost as well, because they've added heading and aerial superiority, and they've also added blocker. So he's got the aerial ability, and then man-marking, interception, blocker, slide and tackle, back clearance. I think that's pretty much the complete set for a centre-back. All the skills he needs as a centre-back. So, looking at it in isolation, pace is pretty good for a centre-back. The jumping and physical, good. Heading's not amazing, but it will hit 80 with the game plan boost, and you've got the heading skill. Down the middle, this is the one area where there's a bit of a concern, because the awareness at 83, that is low. And engagement at 85 is not brilliant. I'd like it to be higher. Certainly the awareness I'd like to be higher. So, yeah, on the ball, I mean, he's a centre-back, but still, you're going to have to be very careful with him. And that balance is horrible. Likewise, the passing's not bad for a centre-back. Low pass certainly gets to 70 with the game plan boost. So, yeah, this is a card that's got some qualities. Certainly, the pace, I don't think you can ask for much more on a centre-back. And physically and aerially, likewise, you can't ask for much more. The tackling and aggression are great. It's just the awareness and the engagement, really. Those are the only two real concerns, and they are pretty crucial. So, if those things concern you, then that might spoil the whole card, to be honest, sadly. But outside of that, you've got to give him credit where it's due, because he's got a lot of good attributes here. He's got a perfect selection of skills for a centre-back. So yeah, if you like a destroyer centre-back, if you don't mind the awareness and engagement being a bit low, then it could be a good card for you. But for me personally, the awareness and engagement just spoil the card. But one thing worth saying though, these national cards are now getting club affiliation. So he's got Galatasaray. So when the Turkish League Challenge pops up, this is actually a good centre-back for the Turkish League Challenge. So if you do get this card, and if you've got room in your squad, it might be worth keeping him just for the Turkish League Challenge more than anything. So do keep that in mind, but outside of that, in general, just for things like divisions and so on, yeah, I'm not sure he quite makes the grade just for those two attributes. But apart from those two attributes, he does have a lot of qualities. He's a good version of Sánchez. And now we've got Darwin Núñez. So we've had a couple of high-rated versions of Núñez in the past. So it's certainly not the best version we've had. Comparing him to his GP card, they've nerfed his balance, which is annoying. And quite amusingly, they've given him a nice boost on his defensive attributes. Yeah. Oh, and again, JS will be proud of me. They've changed his weaker foot accuracy. It's gone from high to very high. And yeah, apart from that, just a slight boost to pretty much everything, really. So, yeah, it's a fairly good version of Núñez. Like I say, not the best version by any means. Fairly decent version. If we look at the skills, they've added one-touch pass, and they've also given him aerial superiority. So we've got heading and aerial superiority. Is he good in the air? Well, his jumping's not amazing. He's about 6'1", 6'1", 6'2". Jumping's not amazing. Physical's decent. Heading's going over 80 with the game plan boost. So with heading and aerial superiority, could be decent from crosses. Not amazing, but decent. We've got long range curl, long range shooting, first time shot. Yeah, he's got a good selection of skills. Goal poacher, decent amount of pace. Quite often with these kind of player of the week and player of the month goal poachers, they don't give him much pace, but we've got a goal poacher that does have a decent amount of pace. Decent kicking power as well, physically strong. Like I say, the balance has been nerfed a bit. That's frustrating. I don't know why I've done that. Stamina's pretty good. It's what you expect from Núñez, you know. The balance, even normally his balance isn't that great, but they made it even worse. And on the ball, he's not brilliant. So be very careful when you get on the ball with this guy. Don't keep hold of the ball for too long. Don't try and sort of start dribbling past defenders. He's not great on the ball. He's going to be awkward. Passing's not brilliant either. Awareness at 87 is decent. If you've got an 88 rated manager, you're going to get to 90 with the attacking awareness, which is great. Finishing 85 is not amazing. I'd like it to be a bit higher, but it could be worse. So yeah, I think ultimately this is a decent goal poacher. I don't think it's an amazing one. For a goal poacher with that playing style, a bit of pace, awareness, and reasonable finishing, he's certainly not a bad guy. He's a decent one. But the fact that he's not better on the ball, his passing is not brilliant, his balance is pretty horrible. They have given him 1 or 2 nice skills, but ultimately I've got to look at it as it is, and he's got qualities for some people to be a decent one. For Liverpool fans, if you don't have a decent version of Núñez, it'll be a good card to pick up, but I don't think it's an amazing one because for all the qualities he does have some weaknesses as well. So not an amazing card, but certainly is a decent one. And for some people, as a goal poacher, it could be a fairly good card to pick up. And now we have an interesting version of Schlotterbeck from Germany. So this is not the highest rated version of Schlotterbeck. There's one from the Germany pack that went to 95. This guy's done 94, so it's not far off. The one in the Germany pack was an extra front man. That's what he normally is. And they changed him to build up this time. That one in the Germany pack, the defenses were kind of shuffled around a bit. Certainly the defensive awareness was way higher, but elsewhere a bit lower. So yeah, different to that one in the Germany pack, but in some ways you could certainly argue it's better. I personally prefer the build-up playing style. That's personal preference. Looking at this in isolation, it's a pretty good centre-back card. Compared to his GP card, what have they done? His awareness is up a little bit, but they've nerfed his other defensive abilities compared to his GP card significantly by like 4 or 5. That's annoying. I don't know why they've done that. That's extra annoying actually, because he's normally an extra front man, which is a more attacking playing style. So based on this team of the week performance, they're saying he's played more defensively, but he's weaker defensively than he normally is. Someone make sense of that to me. But yeah, to look at it in isolation, no, awareness is okay. I would like it to be higher, but tackling is great, and aggression and engagement are both going tonight with the game plan boost. Got fairly good pace for a centre back. They've given him a decent boost on his acceleration actually, and likewise his stamina, a big boost on his stamina. Nice boost on his passing. That's nice. Speeds up a little bit as well. So yeah, decent pace for a centre back. The jumping and physical are decent, not amazing. Yeah, he's pretty solid all around, really. He's a pretty solid centre back. I like that passing. He's had a bit of a boost there. He's got inconsistent form, and he doesn't get live update. No club affiliation, so that's a shame. That's a big shame. So the form is a big issue with this guy. If we look at the skills, they've taken away long range shooting and long throw. I think we can live without those on the centre back. They've added through passing and blocker. I think that's a very nice trade, to be honest. As we just saw, it's got some nice passing attributes. They've added through passing, and he's already got weighted pass, so that's good. And then blocker, of course. So now man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, back clearance, fighting spirit. So we've got all the skills we need defensively on the ground, and then when it comes to the aerial ability, heading and aerial superiority. So all the skills we need, through passing and weighted pass as a bonus on top of those nice passing attributes. It's a shame he's not got as good a defensive attributes on the whole as his GP card. I'm not going to rant any more about that. You know how I feel about it. It just doesn't make sense. But looking at it in isolation, solid defensively, decent pace, decent jumping and physical, very nice passing for a centre-back. The live update and the lack of form, that's probably the killer, to be honest. That's a big shame. But outside of that, I think it's a good solid centre-back card. And if you like Schlotterbeck, and if you like build-up centre-backs, then it's a good version of him, because I think that's the first time I've had a build-up version. But yeah, 1 or 2 real frustrations really that kind of spoil it a bit, especially with the live update situation. But on the whole, looking at it in isolation, in terms of the attributes and the skills, it is a very nice centre-back card. Just the one or two things that kind of spoil it a bit. Now we have another player of the week version of Nico Williams. I got one of them. There's been a couple that are, I think, are the same rating as this, that were a whole player. This time they've left his positions and his playing style as they are on his GP card. He's a prolific winger. That playing style won't be active left mid or right mid. It'll be active as a wing forward, left or right. And yeah, it's just another good version of Nico Williams, really. Got the pace, it's got the dribbling, got a little bit of end product, but not a great deal. If we look at the skills, all they've done is they've added track back and that's it. So nothing too exciting with the skills, really. A bunch of skill moves. If you're a skiller, you like your dribblers, you want to be dribbling past defenders all the time, I think you'll really like this guy. He's obviously got a bunch of skill moves for you. He's got soul control as well. Long range curler is the only thing he's got really in terms of end product though. Outside curler is a nice one though. But yeah, long range curler, I think it's clear what this guy's going to be best at. He is very two-footed. So he could play on the right hand side as well, but I think he's certainly going to be at his best on the left hand side, cutting inside onto his right foot and hitting those long range curlers. I think that's the best way to use this guy. Great with his pace and dribbling, like I say. Be very careful with his passing. He's not great there. Don't ask too much of him. But with the finishing, it's going past 80 with the game plan boost. Curl likewise gets to 80, and with long range curl, he's going to have a pretty nice long range curler on him. So yeah, I don't think a great deal needs to be said about this version of him in terms of what they've changed about him. It's not too exciting. I mean, they've boosted his end product a bit. His passing's still not brilliant, but there's been a bit of a boost there. The physicals are up actually. Physical jumping, bit of a boost there. But yeah, ultimately, not a massive change to Nico Williams. There's nothing too exciting about it, but looking at it in isolation, as a pacey dribbler on the wing with a little bit of end product cutting inside for those long range curlers, I think it's a very nice card. If you don't already have a good version of this guy, and if he's the type of player that you like, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this guy if you get him. So now we have the first right back player of the week version of Koundé that we had in a while. There's been a couple of previous ones. One was better defensively than this guy. One was better. In fact, they were both better physically and aerially. But this is the quickest right back version of Koundé that we've had. And it's a good one, to be fair. I got one of them. I forget which one it was, but yeah, he was good for me. He was pretty solid as a right back. I think when it comes down to really the only real concern for anyone on this card is going to be the pace. Do you think he's quick enough as a right back? I think most people, or certainly a lot of people, would say the pace is okay. He's not electric. I think probably most of us would look for about 90 or so for speed. So he's not too far off. He's not slow by any means. But obviously as a guy who normally plays centre-back, you've got the defensive ability. So down the middle there, strong defensively. On the right-hand side, physical and jumping. They're not as high as they tend to be on Koundé, but he tends to be a centre-back, so that makes sense. For a full-back, the jumping, the physical are good. Down the left, he's okay. He's not a dribbler by any means. Don't ask too much from him with his dribbling, but the ball control and tight possession and getting to 80 with the game plan boost, low enough to pass already past 80. Unwavering form. If we look at the skills, what they've done. Obviously, they've changed him from extra frontman to attacking fullback. Before I forget to mention that. And in fact, they've also given him right midfield as a semi-proficient position. So like with Sabitzer, we've got an extra position where he's semi-proficient. Fantastic. Even though we can't position train him, so it's actually completely pointless. But yeah, in terms of the skills. So, one-touch pass has been added, through passing has been added, and pinpoint crossing as well. So this is very much a right-back version of Koundé. We've still got most of the skills he normally has. They have taken away heading and acrobatic clearance. I think all things considered, even though he's still got centre-back on his positions, obviously, losing heading and acrobatic clearance, the fact his physical's down to 79. Yes, he's got plenty of other qualities. You can get away with him as a centre-back, but with him being as short as he is, the lack of physicals, yeah, I think this is a card of Koundé that if you wanted to play centre-back, I think most of us have got that free one they just gave us, train that one as a centre-back. And then this one here, if you get this guy, like I say, he's very much a right back. The skills they've added one-touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing, soul control he's already got as a nice bonus on the fullback. Then defensively, man marking, interception, blocker, aerial superiority, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. The skill set this guy's got as a right back is fantastic. The defenses are really strong as a fullback. Down the left, he's fine. For those who like a defensive fullback, if you use this guy as a right back and you put a defensive instruction on him, using him that way as a defensive fullback he could be brilliant, could be really, really good. But as an attacking fullback with the skills they've added, he might not be brilliant down that left column, but he's okay. Defensively very strong. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's got the stamina. think it just comes down to that pace, really, to be honest. If you like your fullbacks to be quicker, if you're really adamant that you want to be kind of 90 plus in speed acceleration, you might consider this guy to be a bit slow, but honestly, with the strengths he's got elsewhere, especially with the defensive strengths, which he's brought over from the fact that he's normally a centre-back, I think that makes up for the pace, to be honest, personally. I'll be happy enough if I get this guy as a right-back, as an all-rounder, as a right-back. I think he's a really, really good card. Like I said, there's been a couple of previous versions of Koundé as a right-back where they're kind of slightly better in certain areas, not as good at other areas, particularly the pace, but it's pretty much on the par with those previous two, and I had one that was really good. So yeah, looking at the skills especially, and with the attributes on this guy, not as quick as he could be, but outside of that, I think it's a really, really good all-round right-back. And now we have an interesting Lautaro card. So, it's a booster. Before we look at the booster, compared to his GP card, he's got the usual positions and playing style. He's a goal poacher centre forward. Compared to the GP card, ball control's had a nice boost. Passing's had a bit of a boost. Balance has been nerfed for some reason. They've shuffled his pace a bit. I think acceleration's down a bit, speed's up a bit, roughly the same on the whole. But yeah, it's a booster. Let's cut to it and we'll see how good he is with A form. With the A form, we get awareness, ball control, finishing, and acceleration. So with the when he gets A form, as you see, they're getting to 98. That makes him about as high rated as any version we've had. The ball control and the finishing go even higher than they are on his GP card. His acceleration goes from being 2 lower than his GP card to 1 higher than his GP card. And here's a really amazing one. This is how good his attacking awareness gets. When this guy gets A form, his attacking awareness gets as high as his GP card. Yeah. But yeah, on the whole, this guy goes to about as high rate as any previous version. Like I say, he goes pretty similar to the legend card. It wasn't too long ago they did those kind of legend cards from their partner clubs, and one of the Inter ones was Lautaro, and this isn't too far off. It's a bit different in different areas though. So if you're comparing this to that legend version of Lautaro, he's got less awareness on this card. He's got less pace significantly and less balance as well, but he does have slightly better attributes on the ball, slightly better passing, and he's got better jumping as well. So he is in some ways comparable to that legend version, to be honest. This is a very good version of Lautaro. When he gets A form especially, this is a very good version of him. Looking at it in isolation, I'll look at the skills first. Unwavering form, of course. I mean, this guy's form, he's getting A and B almost every week for Inter. So form is a big, big plus with this guy. But yeah, looking at the skills, they've taken away Marseille turn, gamesmanship, and captaincy. And they've added chip shot control, track back, and super sub. So it's not only one of the best versions of Lautaro that we've had, it's a super sub as well. There's been super sub versions of him in the past, but this is another one. He's got the usual skills: first time shot, acrobatic finishing, he's got heading. I've always found with this guy, even though he's quite short and he's not got air superiority, he's decent in the air. He's deceptively decent in the air. He does pop up and get on the end of some crosses. Long range shooting as well, acrobatic finishing. Track back might not be everyone's cup of tea. Super sub certainly is a nice bonus though. But yeah, this is a good version of Lautaro Martínez. Looking at it in isolation, goal poacher, I would like him to be quicker. That's the one thing really where I think he's lacking a bit. A bit more speed, and it could be a brilliant, brilliant card. As a goal poacher, he's still going to be taking up good positions, and for sure with the awareness that he's got and the finishing he's got, especially on A form, even without the A form, he's going to get past 90 with the game plan boost for awareness and finishing. But with that A form boost especially, he's going to be getting to the good positions. He's going to take chances for you. He's got fantastic ball control, but the dribbling and tight possession aren't brilliant. He's never that great on the ball, Lautaro. I always feel like I do him a bit dirty with some of his technicals here, but certainly with his ball control, they give him a nice attribute this time. Passing is not brilliant. Could be worse though. Acceleration, even if his speed's not the best, his acceleration is good. That's important. Kicking barrel's alright. Decent jumping, like I say, he's deceptively decent from crosses. He's not going to be dominant by any means, but he will pop up and get a header for you here and there. Don't know why they've nerfed his balance. That's frustrating. That's an important one on strikers, but there we go. But yeah, on the whole, in isolation, I would like him to be a bit quicker. It's just that speed that holds him back a little bit for me. It's a bit frustrating, but outside of the speed being a bit on the low side for a goal poacher, he's got a lot of qualities, and it's about as high rated as any version of Lautaro, and in some ways it's even comparable to the legend version. So yeah, it's a good version of Lautaro. If you get this guy, I think he could be very effective for you. And we finish up with Jude. And for the first time, we've got a creative playmaker version of Jude Bellingham. He's always been a whole player or box-to-box previously. We now have a creative playmaker version. It's a booster again. Before the boost, we goes to 98. So he's actually comparable to the better versions of Jude that we had in the past. There's obviously the one in the England pack that's out at the moment. I've got a review of that pack if you want to check that one out on the channel. This is comparable to that version of him overall. Slightly better in some areas, slightly worse in others, but pretty similar. There is also a Showtime version of Bellingham that looks like it's going to be coming on Monday. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, got a creative playmaker version here. Compared to his GP, he's a bit worse on the ball for some reason. Kicking power's down a bit as well. Don't know why. But yeah, outside of that, he's still pretty tidy on the ball. The attack, he's had a fairly nice boost across the board. Like I say, it's one of the better versions of Bellingham that we've had. The attacking awareness is great. Finishing is great as well. It's a shame he's still not got SS as a position, because he has played that position for Real as a kind of false 9. But as an attacking midfielder, the awareness and finishing, like I say, great. Still tidy on the ball. Passing's decent, not amazing. Defensively, he's got a bit of defensive ability. Pace is just about fine for an attacking midfielder. Physical contact's good for attacking mid. Balance decent enough. Great stamina. Looking at his skills, you can get away with this guy as an attack mid or a centre mid. As a centre mid, that playing style won't be active. So he won't have an active playing style as a centre mid. If we look at the skills, he does have interception there. So yeah, you could just about get by with him as a centre mid. But as I said with Sabitzer, you'd need 1 or 2 other midfielders behind him doing the defensive work. But certainly going forward with both these guys' positions, he's got a lot of qualities, but the one frustration, he doesn't have through passing, and you can't train these cards, these player of the week cards. So yes, he's got a lot of qualities. Yes, he's one of the highest rated versions of Jude we've had. And yes, he's a creative playmaker, which if you've always wanted the playmaker version, you'll be very happy. But to have a creative playmaker version which doesn't have through passing, it's a big shame. And his passing might not be bad. It's not bad at all, but it's not brilliant either. So yeah, one-touch pass, but no through passing. Outside curve's a nice one. First time shot. They've added acrobatic finishing, of course, after that goal. What have they sacrificed? They've sacrificed cut behind and turn. He's got double touch, flip out, soul control. Pretty sure that gives him that ball roll, double touch thing. Skillers will be pleased about that. I think he's already got those skills though. But yeah, acrobatic finishing, first time shot with very good finishing. He's certainly got a shot on him. And yeah, one touch pass, but no through passing. So it's a bit of a shame. Creative playmaker without through passing. I wouldn't say it spoils the card by any means, because it's certainly one of the higher rated versions of Jude that we've had. But it's a bit of a frustration. But certainly with the finishing up to 87 before the game plan boost, and with those shooting skills, he can certainly take chances for you. And as I mentioned at the start, is a booster card. So if we get the booster, what happens on A form? It was these ones. So physically he gets a boost. So jumping, physical, balance, stamina. Nice. I don't think that's exactly game changing, to be honest. But there you are. Jumping, physical, and balance all going to be in the 80s with your game plan boost when he's on A form. Stamina's tremendous. He's got fantastic stamina. Yeah, it's a good version of Jude. I think really it's just whether you want to create a playmaker version, whether you mind the fact he's not got through passing. I think a lot of us have got a good version of him by now. There was a nominated contract one. There is the one in the England pack at the moment. And as I mentioned, it looks like there's a Showtime one coming on Monday, some kind of La Liga team of the season type of pack. So is it the best version of Jude? It's one of the better ones. Could it be better? Yes, it could have through passing. It's a shame you can't train him to put that one in. But certainly they've got him in a lot of qualities. And if as an attacking midfielder, with the fact that he's got the awareness and the finishing he does with his shooting skills, he's certainly capable of scoring a goal for you. So yeah, not the best version. 1 or 2 frustrations with him, but it's certainly a very good one. It's a bit different as a creative playmaker. So yeah, for a lot of people, maybe not for everyone, but for a lot of people, this could be a really interesting version of Jude to pick up. So there we go. It's I would say that's a solid version. A solid selection for Player of the Week. I don't think it's a particularly exciting one. I think you just got a whole bunch of cards in there that are pretty good. I don't think there's anyone in there that I'm looking at thinking, oh wow, everyone's going to go for that. That's a really exciting one. I just think you've got some good cards in there. You've got a good version of Bellingham. You've got a good version of Lautaro. Got a good right back version of Koundé. Another good version of Nico. It's a solid version of Schlotterbeck, but like with a lot of these cards, what they've done to some of the attributes is just weird. Why would you make a centre back worse defensively? Yeah, Núñez for some people could be a good one. Sánchez, some people could find it useful. Turkish League Challenge, remember, could be useful for that. I think Diogo Costa is probably the pick out of this pack. That's one of the best player of the week keepers we've had. It's an absolutely fantastic goalkeeper card on A form. Danilo, don't think he's good enough for right back or centre back, to be honest, to be brutally honest. Certainly got a lot of qualities though. Sabitzer could be a neat one to pick up, nothing exciting. And then Vargas, not bad for a 4-star, but he is very much a 4-star. So yeah, I don't think it's a particularly exciting selection player of the week, but there are a bunch of cards in there that for a lot of people could be a good card, could be worth picking up. So yeah, it's not a bad selection on the whole. So like I say, I'll be taking a look at the Premier League Team of the Season pack. There's some interesting ones in there. I'll try and get that review done later today. Otherwise, it'll be over the next day or two. And depending on how crazy the work situation is for me in the morning, I might be doing that live stream, do a live watch along for the J League match tomorrow, kicking off 11 a.m. So keep your eyes out for that. Hopefully, I'll go live for that. And if I do, it'd be good to see some of you guys. We can watch along and chat eFootball. So yeah, there you go. Interesting selection in player of the week this week. Cheers for watching as always. Hopefully, you found this useful. I'll see you next time.